Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Zaria Forman for our Artist of the Week, and she is known for her naturalistic pastel drawings. So if you haven't already, go ahead and pause the video and then take a gander at this video drawing the vanishing ice, and then you can hop back onto the slides. It's going to load for a second, then it'll let me move on to the next slide. Okay, so I just want you to keep this discussion question in mind as we go through the rest of these slides. Do you believe that beauty can be an inspiration for conservation? And are there any drawbacks to this approach? So once you have your answer, you can go ahead and enter it into our classroom Jamboard, and then we'll also do a short classroom discussion tomorrow morning as well. And then this image on the right, of course, is one of the examples of her artwork. And this one, she partnered with NASA and she used satellite images to influence some of her work. So just some quick facts. Again, I'm sure you could tell in the video, but she paints by using her fingertips. So just an example of how you don't need necessarily like super fancy tools. You can use your hands and you can use what you got to create some work. And so her artist process, she travels around the world. She goes to like Greenland and Antarctica on these expeditions. And then she'll take photographs and create sketches there. And then she'll bring back those reference photos to her studio in the US. And this is pretty reminiscent of the artists that we talked about earlier in the semester, like Thomas Cole and the Hudson River School artists. They also did kind of the same thing where they would travel to these landscapes or these places, and then they would make sketches and reference paintings to bring back with them to their studios. Of course, it's a little bit simpler now that we have photography, which can help out a bunch. And then just some quick facts. She worked, some of her work is featured in the set design for the Netflix series House of Cards, which is pretty cool. And then also in set design for ballet performances. So it's really awesome when you can combine like theater and art, and set design is definitely a super cool process as well. And so this image on the right is part of her Israeli series, and it's inspired by the coastline of Tel Aviv. She traveled there in 2019, and she said that she was inspired by the waters of the Mediterranean with all the different hues, and that they were both transparent and luminous. So she wanted to work with the contrast of that luminosity and transparency of the water. And then this is her artist statement. You can take a gander at this and read through it, and then note how she talks about her inspiration, like when she started making work. She talks about what she explores in her artwork, and then also what she hopes that the audience can get when engaging with the artwork as well. And then we'll also practice, of course, making our own artist statements as we go through the rest of this class. Awesome. And so then this is an example of some of her Antarctica work. And this was in Whale Bay, again, pastel on paper. And then you can note the contrast and the amazing details. Like these are huge in person. So having a grander scale also allows you to get in and pack in more detail. And so this is information about that Antarctica expedition. Again, you can pause it to read through it. And then this is an example of one of her Greenland works. Again, same thing, beautiful photorealism, packs in a bunch of detail and contrast. And then also you can see how she like utilizes just a little bit of the bright white, but most of the white has like grayish or bluish tints. So when she doesn't use this like super white everywhere, it makes the parts that she does use that white pop out even more.